Hey, it's me, ezzB, and I was really compelled to make this video and put it up on YouTube because I think there is a feature slash tool in Summoner's War that a lot of newer players either don't know about or aren't really using, and I think that there is some potential there for it to help them progress in the game and maybe overcome some areas where they're stuck. And so that was the plan. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this really should be part of a larger discussion about Summoner's War and the state of the game, which, I know sounds ominous, but it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. And so I realized that this was a larger conversation about the meta in Summoner's War and the role of theory crafting, and why I wanted to make this video, hopefully to encourage younger players to start thinking about coming up with some of their own ideas, as opposed to only relying on teams and comps that they're getting from other people, right? So for me, Summoner's War is a fun game, and I've played it for years now. And part of that is the new content that comes out always provides a new ability to try different things and to come up with new teams and new comps. But often there are a small number of people who are actually trying to come up with new teams, trying to come up with new comps, and then people just adopt the comps that other people suggest, right? And there's nothing wrong with that on its face. Like, I don't think that people should have a proprietary right over certain team compositions, and that you should try to only use compositions that you come up with yourself. One, because there is a limited variation, and with the vast numbers of Summoner's War players across all different kinds of servers, there is going to be some duplication, obviously, and yeah, definitely benefit from learnings from other people. But I do think there is a danger of the meta becoming stale, right? And if the meta becomes stale, then the game just isn't really fun, and rune quality just becomes the only thing that matters, and so the game just kind of slowly dies, right? And so what I'm hoping to do with these series of videos is to encourage players at all levels to actually start theory crafting, actually start picking monsters or looking at a piece of content in the game and trying to come up with new teams or better teams, or picking a monster that you think has some potential that isn't really used and crafting the perfect team around it. And so that's a lot to ask for new players, right? Who maybe don't even know monsters, don't know skills, don't have really high rune quality. But I think there's baby steps, and I think that if more players start playing with these ideas, playing with these tools, alongside all those other things, right? Then I think that the meta will evolve faster and will be more dynamic, and I think that we will all benefit, from that, and the gameplay will just be richer for everybody. So that's the pitch. And so what we're going to do is this video here is going to be a short video just on basically how to start and how to think about it and the tools that you can use. And then the next video that I'm going to do is actually going to be a showcase. So I'm going to go over an area recently where I came up with a new comp that I like, that I wanted to use, that I think is going to be fun, that I haven't really seen yet. Or at least a variation of it that I haven't seen yet, and then I'm gonna try it out, and maybe it won't work, maybe it will fail spectacularly. Spectacularly, I cannot say that word. Maybe it'll be an epic fail, but who knows, right? Like, that's the point, right? If we're always waiting for other people to try things, then nothing new is going to come out of it, right? And I am at the point of the game, although I would still consider myself a mid-game player, I am at the point of the game where I have a sufficient monster box that I can at least like play around a bit and actually know maybe whether something will work or not. And my rune quality isn't great, but I can still compare it to other comps that I run, right? So yeah, so how and why to start doing things on your own, right? So very basically, when I started playing the game, this is back before a lot of this content was released. There was no Dimensional Hole, there was no Tartarus's Labyrinth, there was no B12 dungeons, there wasn't even a Necropolis dungeon, but there were still those challenges, right? You get to a point in the game and you want to be able to get those rewards. You want to clear those areas faster, and so you ask people for help, which is totally fine, right? I want to run my first Giant Speed 10 team. How do I beat TOA normal 50, right? And you would ask your guildmates, you would ask people in your channel, your friends, and they'd either give you comps or they look at your monsters, give you some suggestions. And people are still doing that today, and that's great. But there is a tool that can help you start doing some of this on your own to supplement that. And it's simple to use, and it's really useful. So all you have to do is click on your monster box and click on your collection. And in the old days, if you want to find monsters with skills or, if you want to find something out about a monster that would have a specific role, we would literally, and I'm sure there are people who do this today, would just click through monsters one by one, like checking up on skills, which skills do they have, how do they work, and just going through and one by one. I don't know what Joffrey does. Let's take a look at his skills. Okay. And so that takes a long time because there are a lot of monsters, right? So at some point in the game, and I didn't pay attention when it happened, they added this search feature, which is super useful, right? So now you can search for all of the monsters that can do this thing, right? So let's say you feel like you need a monster that increases attack speed. Now you can search for it. And every single monster that increases attack speed will show up here. Now, it's still a lot of monsters, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and 9 is 17. That's a big number. I don't know if that's 15. So, maybe this is like 30 monsters, 40 monsters, 50 monsters, but it's still a smaller number than what you started with. And you can also filter it even more. So you want attack speed, and you want it to be a support. I would never search that. But you want it to, you want it to have a speed lead, right? Anywhere, right? And so there you go. Now, there are only these monsters that do that. And it's always useful for me because I always go in somewhere and there's always a monster whose skills I don't recognize, right? So what you'll see a lot of is for, TOA normal, someone will say, I want to have a TOA normal team, what do I do, right? And Cole's notes for TOA is, crowd control, which is some combination of stun, sleep, slow, provoke, and which means that when the enemy takes a turn, they can't really do anything, right? And then attack bar control, reducing their attack bar, increasing your attack bar, which will result in them not actually even being able to take that turn, right? So if you can combine, some version of stun, freeze, sleep, with attack bar decreasing and a slow debuff, then you're in a good place, right? And so you can use those things here, right? So you just search enemy attack bar down, and again, every single monster that reduces the enemy's attack bar will show up here. that also has a speed lead because I didn't undo that, right? So let's take off speed lead and search. So it's a whole whack of monsters, right? Now, the limitation of this is that they don't differentiate between monsters that increase the attack bar of your whole team and monsters that only wait. I'm not doing increase, I'm doing decrease, right? What do I have checked? Enemies attack bar down. Yeah, okay. So they don't differentiate between monsters that decrease the entire team, right? And monsters that only decrease a single enemy, like Beretta's second skill, right? So that's one limitation to it. It'd be nice if you could also add those filters, whether it affected a single unit, whether it affected multiple units, or whether it affected the whole team, and that would be both offense and defense. But it's still really, really useful, right? So if someone says, this is a good monster for this, you can go and, especially if you can figure out what it is about that monster's kit that somebody recommended it for you, which you can do just by looking at it, right? So someone just recommends, okay, get Beretta, right? Because it's a fuse monster. Okay, well, what does Beretta have? Well, Beretta has continuous damage, which is AoE, and it has attack bar reduction. So, okay, let's just take a quick look. Are there any other units that deal continuous damage and have enemy attack bar down? And yeah, there are, right? So they may not all work quite the same way that Beretta does. Again, you'd have to read a bunch of these skills to see, but you can mix and match different aspects of different monsters. So maybe you don't care about the continuous damage for one monster, but you can also just search continuous damage, and you can mix and match, right? So anyway, so that's it for this video. Try it out, at least get familiar with it. And what I think would be really cool is if you, in the comments, posted if there is a monster that you either theory crafted a team to go with, or if there is an area of the game that you were stuck at, and this is your suggestion of what you might use to pass it, and then hopefully other people in the comments can give people suggestions on their teams, right? In the next video, we are going to actually theory craft a new team, and I just pulled 2 monsters recently that I think might be used in that team, and then I'm going to try it out for the first time. So I'll be taking a monster I've never used in any content other than like the leveling up, so Phaemon and the Dimension Rift, Dimension whatever it is, you get 3 per day, and we're gonna just be trying it out for the first time. So if you think this video was useful, please try it out, and please leave some sort of comp in the comments, and hopefully you come back for part 2, where we do some more theory crafting and actually look at a practical example. As always, stay safe and have a great day.